Proceed with caution. Target is dangerous. Roger. Asset identified.
Ooh, what is that? Guten Tag, you guys want to see my Pokemon card collection?
Sam wants him alive. Roger.
Who is Sam?
Multiple governments have issued official security warnings about this software. CrowdStrike, the company you call when a nation state hacks your network, built a removal tool just to purge it from corporate systems. Meta told employees they'd be fired if they ran it on a work laptop. 135,000 copies right now at this very moment are sitting on the open internet. No password, no authentication, and North Korean and military intelligence hackers are already inside. And just a few days ago, Sam Altman and OpenAI bought it. Look, if watching me lose sleep over software that Sam Altman now owns sounds like a good time, hit the thumbs up. It's the only thing I ask of you. Get this in front of more people. Listen, I do this every week, and this one genuinely kept me up. Let's get into it. All right, so OpenClaw. Here's the pitch. You text it on WhatsApp. It's an AI that does stuff on your computer. It sends emails, it books flights, it browses the web for you, researches topics or clients or whatever you're into, controls your files, it runs your terminal, your calendar. It's got persistent memory. It can also run on your VPS. It runs 24/7. You don't go to it, you DM it like a friend. And the reason all this is possible, mind you, is because it runs with root access. Here's one of Jason Calacanis' team members on his new podcast, This Week in AI, just casually describing it.
Yeah, I haven't gone through the publishing just yet, but I know that you can have your OpenClaw take control of your whole computer, your browser.
Listen, your whole computer, all your files, and that's not a bug. That's the product itself. You can't give an AI agent control of your entire machine without giving it control of your entire machine. Even CEOs who love this thing know that's a problem.
Although, like right now, the way I use OpenClaw is I don't have it on my local machine. It's set up using cloud platform. So I have to be. I'm trying to fully learn it without like damaging the whole kind of, without like getting into the thing where it has insane amount of privileges. But basically, just our CI/CD pipeline on the chip architecture. Kind of people constantly update within our engineering kind of tools.
That right there's a CEO of a chip company. He treats his architecture as trade secrets. He should. He's in a high value position, and he's saying out loud on a podcast that he has to be careful not to give this damn thing too much access. That's the guy who builds the hardware. Even he's nervous. Why wouldn't you be? Built by Peter Steinberger, 43 projects went nowhere. Number 44 was a Friday night hack on WhatsApp. Most viral open source project in history. And from day one, wide open. The default config bound itself to every network interface in your machine. Port 1879, no authentication, no password, open to the entire internet. It's like leaving your front door unlocked. Except for your front door is also your bank vault, it's also your filing cabinet, and your damn email. Security Scorecard actually ran a global scan. 135,000 exposed instances this very moment. 63% exploitable via remote code execution. 34% already correlated with known threat actor infrastructure, meaning state-sponsored hackers. Not knocking at the door, they're already inside. A security researcher named Jameson O'Reilly went on Shodan. Just started checking. 8 instances, completely open, API keys, Telegram tokens, Slack credentials. Months of chat histories. He could literally send messages to the other people. Full admin access to some strangers' digital lives. One port. And the skills marketplace, where you get all the apps, it's basically think of it as an app store for AI agents. 11% confirmed with malware. That's 341 malicious skills at the time of when I was doing this research, out of 2,800. Cisco audited one called What Would Elon Do? With data exfiltration baked right in. And by the way, Elon was not getting your data, just so you know. Not from there anyways. Do some rough math in your head. And that's about 1 in 9 apps were designed to rob you, basically. It's like a Pakistani bazaar. CVE-202625253.CVSS 8.8. You visit a web page. Attacker steals your token. Connects to your gateway. Disable sandboxing. Full control. One click. You're screwed. Okay, so reasonable question, though. These are bad, right? But they're bugs. Bugs can be patched. They get patched and fixed all the time on GitHub. People create issues, get fixed by the community or the developer himself. Sure, Peter's team already shipped about 40 security fixes in one release, very recently, before Sam even wrote one check. OpenAI hasn't put a single patch in. Let's just say they fix every bug tomorrow. You still handed an AI full access to your files, your messages, your calendar, your browsing history, everything that makes you you. The data doesn't vanish when the CVE gets patched. OpenAI now sits between you and your entire digital life. This is the company that last week, by the way, put ads in their chatbot. You think they're not going to monetize the most intimate data set they've ever touched? And that's not even a real problem, to be honest with you, Kaspersky published a framework they call the Terrifying Five. 5 things about this architecture that cannot be patched, cannot be fixed, because they're not bugs, they're features. And maybe it'll be a little bit different when OpenAI is hosting it on the cloud, but for the OpenClaw on your machine or in your VPS, 1, it needs root access to function, not as an oversight, but as a requirement. You cannot run an AI agent that controls your entire computer without giving it access to your entire computer. Like I said, your files, your credentials, your email, it's all in there, everything. That's the product. 2, it processes untrusted data from everywhere. It browses the web and it reads your emails, it pulls from APIs. Every single one of those inputs is an attack surface. And yeah, you can try to like train the AI in certain ways, but it's still risky. 3, and this one's the worst to be honest with you. The guy himself who built this said it on the Lex Friedman podcast.
Yeah, and yes, prompt injection is on the one hand unsolved.
Unsolved. The creator of this software, the person who knows it better than anyone alive, is telling you the core vulnerability has no solution. The AI cannot tell the difference between your commands and an attacker's commands. That's not a bug, that's the technology, man. And 4, memory persistence. OpenClaw remembers everything, which means one successful prompt injection doesn't just steal your data once, it changes how your actual AI behaves permanently. One poisoned email, one compromised web page, and your AI is now working for someone else long term. And good luck checking the logs, you might never find it. 5, it can exfiltrate. And that means basically it sends emails if you let it, it posts to APIs, almost constantly with APIs, I mean, depending on what access you're giving it, but that's like the most common one. It pushes to GitHub if you let it, if you're a developer. If it gets compromised, it has every tool it needs to send your data anywhere in the world, silently. And then honestly, this is what got me personally. Hudson Rock confirmed it's already happening. A new infostealer variant, Vidar, now is out. Vidar specifically targets OpenClaw's users, and it does it in a weird way. It's not stealing passwords like your common spoofers or whatever. What Vidar does is actually steals something called your soul.md. It's the file where your OpenClaw stores who you are. If you've ever set up an OpenClaw, you know what I'm talking about. You should know about the soul.md. It's kind of how you personalize it. Anyways, hackers aren't taking your data so much. They're taking the AI's understanding of you. And by the way, as a marketer, that's kind of like an unethical dream, but still, it's doing it. That's 5 things that are true about this software by design. And every single one of them gets more dangerous, not less, the more powerful the AI model running it becomes. Like Peter said himself, the attack surface shrinks, but the damage increases. More capable models means more capable attacks. So you're kind of screwed. Oh, and somehow through all this, by the way, the project keeps getting bigger. But first it nearly imploded. Like, this is close. Anthropic's legal team sent Peter a trademark notice. Claude, C-L-A-W-D, is too close to Claude, C-L-A-U-D-E. What a coincidence, Anthropic. It's so weird. So he has to rename it. Okay, cool. And to switch the name on GitHub and Twitter, he has to release the old handles before claiming the new ones. A 10-second gap goes by. This part's insane. Crypto scammers snatch both accounts in real time. His hijacked GitHub starts serving malware through the software with root access to your machine. The supply chain for the most powerful AI agent on Earth got compromised because of a 10-second window during a rebrand. That's nuts. It's Looney Tunes. So then you saw crypto exchanges fake $ Claude token, $16 million market cap, crashes 90%, 3 name changes in 4 days. clawdbot, moltbot, OpenClaw. But what the hell's going on, dude? Anyways, on Lex Friedman podcast, and honestly, this is an awesome episode. I'll put it in the description as long as anything else I clipped here. Peter said this.
Man, I was like close to crying. He was like, okay, everything's fucked.
And through all of it, every install, every API call was sending money directly to Anthropic. Anthropic sent a cease and desist. OpenAI, on the other hand, sent a check. Right. Okay, context here. OpenAI is projecting a $14 billion loss this year. They likely need about $200 billion in annual revenue by 2030 just to not collapse. Meanwhile, Anthropic is on track for profitability by 2027. Also, the market share for Anthropic has gone inverse compared to where it was like 2 years ago. OpenAI, on the other hand, went from about 40-some% to 27%. People stopped going to ChatGPT. They stopped using Anthropic chat interface. Did a whole video on it. You'll find the info card in the corner. February 14th, Valentine's Day of all days. Sam Altman announces Peter Steinberger is joining OpenAI. Jason Kalkinis estimates the real number.
Tedious work to set it up. They're going to make it one click and give it to their billion users because they have distribution in order to preserve their distribution. And then whatever innovations, the safest, most innovative, easiest version, the most easiest version will be the default interface on ChatGPT within 6 to 12 months. In other words, in ChatGPT, you're not going to get a chat interface and ask a question and pick a model. You're going to get a persona, And the persona is now going to operate, and they will flip the default. And it will start with 2 buttons, your assistant's name or ChatGPT. Which would you like to use? And then at some point, they flip the default. That's the most cynical take.
Why
and then
is
they
that
leave
cynical?
It to
That
Dave
sounds.
Morin.
All right. So 250 to 500 million for a project that was losing 10 to 20 grand a month. But it's not about the software. Kalkana said the quiet part out loud. Why Sam really bought it.
Explicitly. So is he being brought on to OpenAI with a fat sack of stock options as an equivalent to an acquisition? Is that how you see this working out?
My guess, I am strictly guessing here, is that they gave him a pile of cash as a signing bonus. I would estimate that would be a 9-figure, kind of mid 9-figure deal. I would put it at 250, maybe even as high as 500 million in some combination of cash and stock in OpenAI. Then he was probably given another equal amount to be a team member of OpenAI for the next 4 years. I would then put the deal at 250 plus 500, 500 plus 500, something in that zone, because he could have easily raised $50 million at a 300, 400, 500 million dollar valuation.
And that's the cynical take, to be honest, but it's also the real one. OpenClaw commoditized them, and the agent picked up whatever model was cheapest, whether it was one of those, whether it was Kimi K2, whether it was a Grok model, whatever. So if you really think about what Sam did, Sam didn't buy a software company. He bought the kill switch to his own obsolescence. So, all right, let's wrap it up here. Software with root access to your machine. 5 architectural flaws that can't be patched. The creator himself saying the core problem is unsolved. Malware in the App Store. Hackers already stealing your AI's memory. And the company that just bought it just started putting ads in their chatbot, drove out their safety researchers, and broke every promise they've ever made practically. OpenAI is not going to make the software less dangerous. They're going to make it more useful, which with its architecture is the same thing. Like VentureBeat called it the beginning of the end of the ChatGPT era. And that's kind of, I get it. I think it's actually worse than that though. This isn't a chatbot anymore. It's an operating system for AI agents. It's an interface. The problem is though, it's running on your machine or the VPS, or where VPS meaning cloud, obviously, with everything. And Sam Altman now owns all of it. Yeah, OpenAI is probably going to integrate it with their ChatGPT interface, but how much of this is still going to be able to get patched and still provide the ability to use the tools that you want so it's useful? But again, just kind of harping on what I said earlier, the reason Sam was desperate enough to write this check, the reason he beat out Zuckerberg and Nadella, both of whom were actually courting Peter on Valentine's Day, not in the way you're thinking, obviously, is because of what happened the week before. That's this video right here. Anyways, I'm Alex. This is a Good Smart Idea. If you want to know what happens if Sam Altman gets root access to 100 million machines, subscribe. I do this every week, and I promise you, it's only going to get weirder.